If you're a new candle maker and have been wondering why your candles don't smell that strong, this video should help. I'm constantly told that my candles fill entire rooms, sometimes even whole houses, with a strong but not overwhelming scent. And I'm not using massive loads of fragrance oil, so no, it's not just about dumping more fragrance oil. In fact, that can actually make your candles perform a little worse. In this video, I'm breaking down the real reasons why your hot throw might be on the weak side, and it's not always what you'd expect. So whether you're a new candle maker or just trying to level up your results, these tips should help, and I wish I knew them when I first started. So let me start with this. More fragrance oil doesn't always mean more scent. I know it sounds backwards, but it's true. If you go over the recommended fragrance load for your wax, it can actually backfire. The oil might not bind properly, which can cause separation, oily tops, wet spots, or uneven burns. It can even smother the wick or produce way too much soot. Most waxes have a recommended fragrance load, usually between 6 and 10%. I personally only use about 6% in most of my candles, and people still tell me they fill the room. So again, it's not always about more, it's about balance. And here's the thing, this video doesn't replace testing. Testing is everything. Your wax, your jar, your wick, your fragrance, it's all connected. You've got to test each setup for yourself and track what works. I use my candle maker's journal to log those test results. Wick sizes, fragrance percentages, how long the candle burned, and how it threw. If you're tired of guessing, that worksheet is a lifesaver. Now let's talk about wax. Wax plays a huge role in your candle throws, both when it's burning and when it's not. So cold throw is the scent you get before lighting the candle. It's that first impression. But hot throw, that's the scent you get when the wax is melted and burning. It's what really matters for performance. Here's a quick breakdown of some different waxes based on my experiences. So you have like pure soy wax. It's probably the most popular. It's clean burning, but tricky for hot throw unless you really get the temps and cure time dialed in. I actually started out using pure soy wax. Then there's coconut soy. This is what I currently use. It's a little bit creamier in texture, easier hot throw, and holds fragrance really well. Then there's paraffin. So paraffin is known for a strong scent throw, but not everyone loves it for health and sustainability reasons. There's a debate about that in the candle making community. It's not really my place to get in on that. Then you have soy paraffin or coconut paraffin blend. So it's created to kind of get the best of both worlds. Better throw with some cleaner qualities. Each wax reacts differently to heat, fragrance, and curing. And here's something that a lot of people skip. Read your wax supplier's instructions. Most tell you the best temp to heat, when to add fragrance, and how much to use for best results. The bottom line, just because someone else gets amazing throw with a certain wax doesn't mean you will. You've got to test with your setup. Here's another thing a lot of candle makers miss. Temperature matters at every step. If you add your fragrance oil when the wax is too hot, it can burn off the scent before it even gets to the jar. Too cold, it won't bind well, and you'll end up with a weak candle. For most waxes, the sweet spot to add fragrance oil is about that 185-degree mark. That's where the wax is typically hot enough to fully mix with the oil, but not hot enough to damage it. I stir gently for at least a minute or two to make sure it's fully blended. Then there's pour temperature. Some waxes pour best at 135, others closer to 150. Pouring too hot can give you sinkholes or poor jar adhesion. Too cold and the tops get rough or crack. So yes, get yourself a good thermometer and track your process. These small details can make a huge difference in your final product. Now let's get into wicks, because they're a big deal. Your wick controls the melt pool and your melt pool controls your hot throw. Simple as that. If your wick is too small, the wax won't melt all the way to the edge and your fragrance won't go anywhere. Too large and the candle burns too hot, which can actually burn off the scent too fast or lead to other safety issues. I personally use wood wicks in my candles. They crackle and look nice, but I still had to test a bunch of different sizes to find out, which one was the right one. And what worked for one scent didn't always work for another. Fragrance oils burn differently, and they affect the wick's behavior. So don't skip wick testing. It can be the difference between a candle that tunnels and one that fills a room. The jar you use isn't just for looks, it actually affects how your candle throws scent as well. If your jar is too deep or too narrow, the scent can get trapped and not released too well. Too wide and you might not get a full melt pool unless your wick is big enough or you start adding multiple wicks. But if you don't get the full melt pool, you are going to get tunneling and a weaker hot throw. In my personal experience, shorter and wider jars actually give you a better scent throw, especially in larger spaces. Materials of the jars matter too, right? So glass is great at retaining heat, which helps keep the melt pool even. Tin and ceramic look cool, but they sometimes cool a little bit too quickly, especially in colder rooms. Again, it depends on your wax and wick combo. So don't just choose a jar because it looks good. Test how it performs with your candle formula. Sometimes the most basic jar can give you the best results. So let me just say, just because a candle smells good the day you pour it, doesn't mean it's ready to burn. Curing is what gives your candle time to stabilize and develop its full hot throw potential. It's when the wax and fragrance bond completely. With coconut soy, I like to let mine cure for at least a week. However, during most of my tests, many of the candles smelled great after 3 days. I just personally like to do at least a week to ensure. When it comes to other soy wax blends, they might need up to 2 weeks. Paraffin usually cures faster, but even that needs a couple days of rest to settle. If you burn a candle too soon, it might smell very weak and you'll start questioning your whole formula when really it just needed more time to chill. I learned this one the hard way. I remember making my very first ever candle. I didn't even give it a few hours. As soon as it hardened, I tried to burn it out of excitement. I was extremely disappointed when I couldn't smell anything. Now I track my cure times carefully, and the difference in scent throw is night and day. So here's the big picture. Strong scent throw doesn't always come from dumping more oil into wax. It comes from getting everything else right. Your wax, your wick, your temps, your jar, your timing. And yes, it takes testing, sometimes a lot of it. But when you finally hit that combo that burns clean and fills a room, that's the moment it all clicks. So if this video helped, let me know in the comments which one of these tips you're gonna try next, or what's something you've learned throughout your own testing. And if you want more real-world candle making tips, not just the surface level stuff, but the trial and error, hands-on kind of lessons, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.